Welcome to Recap Lounge. Today we will discuss the romantic film called The Age of Adeline. There are spoilers ahead. Adeline is over 100 years old and doesn't age. To keep this secret, she moves to different places every 10 years and changes her identity. One day, she meets her old love William.
This is Adeline.
The father of her current boyfriend Ellis. Seems a little awkward, don't you think? Her 10-year cycle is fast approaching and Adeline needs new documents. She decides to move to a quiet farm in Oregon, away from the busy city of San Francisco. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. Enjoy and take care. She goes to a fraudster to buy a new passport, driver's license and other necessary items. However, she warns the dealer to be careful and not to forget the small details like signed baseballs with his name, as she knows how easily the small things can give away a person's true identity. Adeline goes back to her lonely apartment, where her dog is the only one to greet her. She has no one to talk to, so she talks to her dog about her plans to move to a farm. It's time for her to go to work at the local library. She takes a taxi and impresses the driver with her excellent knowledge of the city. At work, Adeline is surprised to find out that old films need to be digitized and must be sorted and prepared for shipping. She eagerly takes on this job and instead of packing the films, she puts one in an old movie projector. She gets nostalgic as she watches the video and pages of newspapers flash on the screen. While sorting the old films, Adeline comes across a note about a girl born in San Francisco at the start of the year 1908. This girl was Adeline Bowman, who was once a librarian. Adeline was just like any other person. She was born over 100 years ago in San Francisco, got married, had a daughter named Fleming, and became a widow 5 years later. Adeline got caught in an unexpected snowstorm while driving to her parents' house. She drove into a river and the hypothermia caused her heart to stop, but a lightning strike on her car brought her back to life. This event caused something miraculous to happen. Adeline stopped aging. Her face and body no longer changed over time. At this point, her daughter looked more like her sister. In the beginning, Adeline thought that proper nutrition, heredity, and sports were the reason for her youthful appearance and even joked with her former classmates that she used a mysterious cream from Paris. However, Adeline was not amused when a policeman who stopped her for a minor violation took away her license and told her he would give it back after she brought him a birth certificate. Adeline's driver's license says she is 45 years old, but she looks younger, like she's 30. To avoid unwanted attention, she gets a job as a secretary at a medical school to try to find out why she looks so young, but she can't find any answers. Despite her efforts, the authorities become interested in her. One day, while she is on her way home from work, she is taken by two men pretending to be FBI agents. They force her into a car and take her to the airport. They talk about some experiments, but Adeline is determined not to give up. Adeline took advantage of a moment when the kidnappers were distracted, broke free from the car through the trunk, and ran away. She has been running ever since and doesn't allow herself to have close relationships. She sometimes visits her daughter, who looks older than her, and has had the same breed of dog for many years. Throughout her life, Adeline has traveled a lot but always ends up back in San Francisco. She knows the city well and speaks more than 4 languages. One evening, Adeline attends a New Year's party with her friend. As she walks through the big room, she sees an old picture of herself from a party over 50 years ago. A man tries to get to know Adeline, but she politely turns down his advances. Another man, named Ellis, is persistent and tries to talk to her, hoping to get her address. Despite his efforts, she continues to say no. A few days later, Adeline meets with her daughter to find a nursing home for her. It's a difficult decision for Adeline because she had hoped to live with her daughter in Oregon. Adeline then goes to the library to finish some work, where she meets Ellis again. Ellis is well off and donated a valuable collection of books to the city. Despite his persistence, Adeline continues to reject his advances until he finally convinces her to go on a date by promising to take her somewhere she has never been, while comically blackmailing her by canceling the donation if she doesn't agree. A strange location turned out to be a place with old boats hidden inside a sewer. Adeline was amazed by this bit of history. While walking, Ellis made her laugh with a funny comment, so she agreed to see him again. Even though she said yes to a second date, Adeline still planned to leave and go to the bank. She adds her new identity as a co-signer to her account, so she has access when she switches to her new documents. The second date with Ellis was even better. They both had a good time and talked about different things. Ellis told Adeline that he had been watching her for a while, especially when she was reading on the library steps, but he was too shy to approach her until now. Adeline wasn't sure if she was ready for a romantic relationship. When Ellis tried to kiss her, she pulled away. She changed the topic of conversation. However, the romantic vibe of the evening had its effect. The two spent the night together. As Adeline was on her way home in a taxi, the car stopped near a park bench and she remembered a time when her special someone was sitting there waiting for her, but she didn't have the courage to go to him. Adeline's eyes filled with tears, and she still couldn't bring herself to tell the truth about everything. When she arrives at home, her beloved pet dog was sick and had to be put down. Adeline cried as she said goodbye to her furry friend and added his picture to her album of memories of all her past pets. She was depressed and unsure, and told Ellis, who had come over with flowers, that things wouldn't work out between them. She got into an argument with her daughter, who told her to stop running away from love. Adeline explained that love can only exist if two people can grow old together, meaning she would never find true love. But Adeline's daughter managed to convince her, and she went to see Ellis to ask for another chance. Adeline got creative and took Ellis to an abandoned movie theater. Instead of seats, there were cars, and the ceiling was decorated with glowing stars. They grew closer and both had feelings for each other. Ellis felt it was time to introduce Adeline to his parents. The couple went for a drive outside of town and picked up Ellis's sister, Kiki, who was a young woman who didn't use cell phones and hitchhiked for personal reasons. Kiki liked Adeline and everything seemed to be going well. However, fate had a surprise for Adeline. When Ellis's father saw her, he immediately recognized her as the woman he was in love with years ago. But Adeline's quick thinking assured him that her name was Jenny, her current identity, and that William knew her mother who had passed away 6 years ago. The explanation sits well with everyone except William, whose memories of Adeline are too strong. The next day he still remembers how amazing and beautiful she was, and how she inspired him to quit medicine and study astronomy when he was 26. His wife gets jealous and thinks he only chose her as a replacement for Adeline, but he convinces her that he truly loves her and years of marriage proves this. At night, the family plays a board game, which William usually wins. But tonight, Adeline knows all the answers, so William loses for the first time. As kids they used to joke whether their father would lose a game before Della arrives, the comet that William predicted would appear half a century ago, naming it after a relative. However, it never appeared yet and they have their answer. Before going to sleep, Adeline goes outside for some fresh air and meets William. She asks him why he named the comet after her mother, knowing her nickname was Della. William admits that he loved Adeline a lot and was going to ask her to marry him, but she disappeared from his life. Adeline tells William that her mother loved him too, then goes back inside to lay beside Ellis. Ellis tells Adeline that he loves her and can't imagine his life without her, even though it might be too early to mention love. Adeline is surprised and realizes that she has feelings for him but is also afraid. She wants to pause that moment but knows it won't be that simple. In the morning, William meets Adeline in the yard and notices a scar on her hand. He was the one who stitched it many years ago and a photo confirmed it. He catches up to her when she goes for a walk and asks her not to lie to him. After some hesitation, she tells him the truth. William is surprised but understands her fear. He asks her not to run away again and says that to truly live you have to love. Adeline quickly rushes to the house, packs her things, writes a goodbye note, and leaves. Ellis's father asks him if he is sure he loves Adeline, and Ellis firmly says that his life would be meaningless without her. In response, William throws him the keys. Adeline realizes that she loves Ellis and doesn't want to hide it anymore. She calls her daughter and tells her about her decision to tell Ellis the truth. Sadly, before she can return, her car is hit by another driver and she ends up in a ditch. As she lay there, it snows, her body becomes very cold and her heart stops. It looks like she might die just like 80 years ago as the setting is similar. Ellis finds her and tries to help, but it's the medical team that saves her. Could this be the combination of snow and electricity that started it all? She wakes up in the hospital and tells Ellis her secret and confesses her love. A year later, Adeline lives with her daughter and has a new puppy. She looks in the mirror and sees a gray hair, which confuses her. When Ellis asks if she's okay, she replies softly with joy, "She's fine." Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.